person trying to lose weight must know about their body. Before we even start into the house, we need to understand some fundamental truths about our body. And this will make a lot of sense to you, and I think there might be some aha moments here. So the first one is how your fat cells work. The second one is understanding that our body is 100% geared towards survival and doesn't really care how you feel you look in jeans. The third one is you have this extraordinary internal wisdom that a lot of us have disconnected from, and I like to create that connection again. And the fourth one is what I've got really excited about in recent times is just understanding more about our natural body clock. And for those of you that received the email, that's what that email was about. So we're going to go through that. So if we can look at this diagram and have a look at what a well-functioning fat cell looks like, and there are such things as well-functioning fat cells. They have a purpose. We definitely need them. As you can see, the symbol here, these arrows here, are the enzymes that push fat into that fat cell. On the opposite end, you can see that we've got enzymes that allow fat to come out of that cell to be utilised for our day-to-day energy or expenditure or whatever the body needs to use that fat for. Okay, so a well-functioning fat cell, the fat should go in easily and the fat should release easily. Okay, and that is a fat cell of a healthy size. Okay. So before the diet, or if we've never dieted, and when I say diet, it's restricting your calorie intake or food intake for long periods over a period of time, but that also is when you skip meals and you go for long periods of time, over sort of 6 hours to 8 hours, not include sleep time, of going without food will initiate this response. So when we go on a diet, we basically calorie restrict. And as you'll hear about on my next slide, the body is purely concerned for survival. So an alarm bell goes off. And basically what happens is the body goes, okay, the crop has died, the herd have run, there's no more food, and we're in starvation mode, and we need to preserve. So what basically happens, as you can see in this diagram here, the amount of enzymes that push fat into the cell multiply. So because your body is going into storage mode for just in case, it doesn't realise that there's 24/7 supermarkets, right? And 24/7 food accessibility. So the body gets really, really good at putting fat into that cell, but it's like, I'm not giving this fat away for no reason. I'm going to eliminate the times when I release that fat for really dire situations. So you become really good at storing weight, and you become really bad at letting that fat go out of that fat cell. So then, over time, this fat cell just, as you can imagine, increases and increases. Every time you do this, you multiply. Every time you go on a diet, you multiply that equation. Okay? So the reason is that when you go on a diet and you calorie restrict, you will lose some weight, and the fat cells will give away that weight. However, because they've had this change in physiology of their enzymes, the minute that you feed, it will feed those fat cells first to bring those stores up again for the next time that the famine comes. Okay? Now, it's really important to understand this just so that you can knock out your system just to give up the dieting mentality. Okay? And the yo-yo stuff as well. But the good news with this is that the minute that you start feeding your body, and as I said, and on the next slide, we talk about survival. As soon as you start feeding your body, the body goes, okay, this is great, there's food again, I'm going to start trusting again. I don't need to maintain all of these extra enzymes because I'm not using them. So it'll remove those enzymes and it'll say, okay, well, I don't need to store all this weight, so it's actually an effort. So I'll just start releasing them because I know that there is a continual supply of food. So you can reverse that effect. Okay? The second thing that you really need to understand, as I said, the body is 100% geared towards survival. It doesn't care how you look or what you're up to, it just thinks, am I going to get this person through the day to survive? Okay, so the things that it will do things like the path of least resistance. So things that seem easier, it will go down that path, naturally. So how that translates in our lives is that things that feel a little bit challenging at the start, we naturally just resist them. So having that understanding that we are built that way gives you such a freedom to say, Well, that's just how I'm built. This is my body looking after me, rather than saying things like, I've got no willpower, here I go again. So just understanding that. So what the body will do, another classic example, and this exists in so many systems in our body, like I could spend 3 days telling you about how it works. I will give you an example just to showcase it for you. Say for example you decide you're going to eat a pizza. Okay, there's lots of carbohydrate in the base of it, but there's also protein and bits and pieces. The best thing you can do is have it with Coca-Cola. Okay? You drink the Coca-Cola and the body goes, I need glucose, I need to bring my sugar levels up. The path of least resistance is the sugars in the Coca-Cola. I'm just going to regenerate my glucose stores with that, and I'm not going to bother taking the time to digest all this food. I'll just kind of like store that for later. It's the path of least resistance. It will go to where it can extract the nutrients the quickest. That's why when you go, like for those who did the 10-day detox, we kind of hit a wall on day 4 because the body worked out, hang on a minute, I'm eating high fibre, high nutrient dense foods that take longer to digest. I don't have the quick fix anymore. I don't like this. I'm having to work a little bit harder. Okay? So just understanding that and the way that your body works is really quite powerful. The third thing is that the second thing is just about habits. Again, the body will form routines, and sometimes I hear it all the time actually. People say, oh, I'm in the pantry eating and I didn't even realise I was there until half the Okay? And simply because when you do a behaviour once, when it goes, oh, okay, and there's a reward for it. And then you do it a second time, and then you do it a third time, and then you do it a 4th and 5th and 20th time. The body goes, oh, I know how to do this. This is something that she's doing regularly or he's doing regularly. I'll just create a pattern. It's a really beautiful neural set of pathways that as soon as she gets home, I'll just push her over there because that's where I know she wants to go, and it's all fantastic. That's what a habit is. So when we talk about breaking down habits, and that's like another workshop completely, but when we talk about breaking habits, habits aren't just a thing that we say. It is actually a set of neural networks that take us from point A to B, usually on autopilot. Okay? So again, understanding that is another step in your success. So when you are starting something new, or like, what's this behaviour? I don't know this behaviour. This feels weird. This is unusual. I'm putting myself out. This is taking a bit longer. This is affecting this other habit. And there's all of this thought process and this resistance until the body goes, oh, she's done it 3 times now. Oh, she's done it 10 times now. Oh, maybe she wants to do this one. And then creates the new neural connections. It just takes time. Okay? So that's why I hear a lot of people saying, oh, but it doesn't work. Oh, I tried the Atkins diet or I tried the whatever diet. And again, we'll talk about mastery later. But it's because people don't give it enough time. The last thing is adaptation. The body will adapt to whatever you are doing. So if you start running, like Terry, lots of running, the body designs itself to be able to achieve that for you as efficiently as possible. So better oxygen uptake in the muscles in your legs, better lung capacity, everything evolves to accommodate and adapt to what Terry's doing, asking of her body. The other person that's sitting on the couch, perfect, the body will adapt to that as well. Okay? It slows the metabolism down, shortens even the flexor muscle, so even that perfect position, standing. But the process of adaptation is constantly occurring because the body is continuously focused on survival, and it is concerned that there is a threat coming and it wants you to be completely primed, ready to take on that threat, which in today's day and age, outside of not responding to a Facebook message, there is no huge threats. We live in a country where there isn't that many threats. Okay? So, with all of that knowledge, we're going to go into the next step of our internal wisdom, and this is the bit that I absolutely love.